like 100000000. I'm here with Gino.
Hey, danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Feeling like Pac. Represent. On my block. Try to knock me down, but I come up on top. Yeah, they wanna see me flop. Got a plot, want a lot. I won't stop on my pops. Got so many flows, it's insane. They don't really understand the game. Got a plan and it's plain, I ain't playing. I'm just trying to gain. I wanna get that big bag, need that big racks. Blow up Tic Tac with a blue cheese at. I don't give a fuck about your feedback. Eat that, get back, sit back, watch me spit that kickback. Got so many flows, yeah, they think that I'm insane. Ghetto kids in a lot of pain, all about the bills, ain't shit changed. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game, I'm a player. If you a hater, I don't hate you. I'm just really happy that I ain't you. I just wanna thank you. You kept me motivated, so now I motivate you. There's a lot of cake, money on my mind like a banker. Coming through with them bangers, ain't no room for mistakes. Hustle till we get a lot of rooms, lot of stakes. Good kid, but I keep it gangsta. All gas, no brakes. Got cash for the case. More cash in the case. More cash in the safe. More cash on the way. Hustling all day. Ay. Danger, coming with them bangers. Tell me where my paper. Still on the same mission, trying to live major. Don't hate me, hate the game. I'm a player. Danger, coming with them bangers. Where my fucking paper.
Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Yeah. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on place. If you only win one way, you late. Yeah. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late. Yeah. Price go up, I ride the wave. Price fall fast, I short the gray. They need green just to feel okay. I make money in a hurricane. If you bullish, only you half a trader. Market turn red, you a spectator. I stay paid in every layer. Volatility, my elevator. They panic selling, I'm scaling in. They revenge trade, I'm stacking wins. They chasing candles, I fade the trend. They cash out calm while they hold the L. You want direction, I want range. You want hope, I want exchange. You want luck, I want edge. That's why my account don't beg. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on plates. If you only win one way, you late. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late. I don't need green candles to eat. If you're scared too short, you're scared to win. Profit don't care about direction. Bulls celebrate, bears pay me. Volatility is my direct deposit. Your hope is my liquidity. I don't predict opposition. Fear is where the entries live. You pray for pumps, I prepare for dumps. I make money in corrections and celebrations. The trend is your religion. The range is my income. If the chart move, I get paid. Yeah. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on plates. If you only win one way, you late. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream. Bitcoin still hanging out underneath our value area high, guys. Are we going to be able to get a bounce here? Are we headed back down towards the POC at $68,000? Are we going down below 60K? I'm going to cover it all on tonight's live stream. I'm going to go over the key levels. This new hat is fighting me here to stay bent. But we're going to cover the key levels, guys. I'll give you my overall thoughts on price action. We'll take a look at money flow. I'll give you the bearish case, the bullish case, and which way I'm leaning. We'll talk about my positions, and pretty nicely hedged here, to be honest, whether we pump or dump. We're going to be making money here. Let me hang on one second. There we go. A little extra light. But yeah, perfectly hedged here in the shorts and the longs here, guys. Kind of waiting to get stopped out of one of them. But yeah, are we going to be able? We're coming up to some local support. We saw some kind of bullish confirmations. May get a little low time frame bounce here. We're going to talk about the key levels to the upside. We got some money flow coming out on the medium time frames. I'm going to cover everything with you guys and hopefully give a little bit of a clear view on where we're going next here on the Bitcoin price. Shout out to Rudy in the chat. That's Rudy with a Y. Welcome in, brother. Haven't seen Rudy with the eyes lately. Man, he won that trade. He just left. He retired. But yeah, we got 1, 2, 3 in the chat. We got Jay FOMO. What is going on? We got Brights in the chat. Said, Frankie, Bitcoin going to 200K. Oh, my God. It's going to 200K, guys. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. We'll look. We'll look. But yeah. We got Lindo in the chat, said, Frankie, let's make some money. Shout out to Lindo. Welcome in, brother. We got Tony D holding it down in the chat. I think he's our only mod today. We are going to be doing the giveaways at the stream, guys, so stick around to the end of the stream to win some free USDT. And if we get, I don't know, it's a Friday. It's a Friday, guys. Usually people are out today. I don't know how many viewers we're going to get, but if we get 550 likes, we'll give away some Frankie Candles hats to 3 lucky CandleMafia members. We got a care package the other day. Got some of my own fresh hats, so we got to share the love with the Mafia here. But yeah, I'm going to go over everything with you guys. We got Golden Child in the chat. Said, what up, peoples? Welcome in, Golden Child. Hope you guys are having a great Friday. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Short stream today, guys, by the way. I know you guys never know if it's actually going to be a short stream or not, but today is going to be a short stream. I'm setting the timer right now. Setting the timer. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. Shout out to Bright said, can we take a look at Sol today, Frankie? Yes. We'll take a look at Solana. We'll take a look at Ethereum. We'll check out some of the big boy altcoins here. Smash that like button, guys. Free hats, free money. Where else are you going to get free money? But yeah, let's go ahead and jump in here, guys. So obviously, Bitcoin still stuck underneath our value area high here. Now, I'm going to take a look at money flow with you guys. Of course, as you know, I've been kind of neutral within this range, guys. We're just trading the key levels, right? We took the whoa. Everybody calm down here. Taking the shorts at the highs, longs at the lows. I am still holding my long here from $65,000. Also had the failed auction set up as we've covered extensively recently. Got the failed auction here for the move back to the value area high. And right now, guys, we are front-running this POC. I will say, as long as we remain below the value area high, I am still going to have this target down towards the POC. And then, of course, I'll cover the kind of key levels. Again, it's kind of repetitive here, which is part of the reason why we may have a short stream today. But we do have the 786 sitting down there, currently bouncing off the golden pocket. I'll talk about this as well. But within the volume profile, right, as long as we remain inside this range, these volume profiles do have a magnetic nature to them to get sucked down towards that POC, very similar to what we saw happen down here. Lost the value area high, right back down to the POC. Once you lose the POC, we look to go down towards the low. So we do have that same kind of similar setup here. But, of course, when we take a look at money flow, I'll kind of give you guys my bias here. But just in general, we're below the value area high. Got to keep that target open towards the POC. We also do have some money flow coming out here on the 2-hour time frame. If you guys watched the market update yesterday, you will know we were looking at this 2-hour money flow, potentially indicating that we could continue this downtrend. This is still technically in play. So, yeah, I mean, just simple volume profile theory here, guys. I don't want to overcomplicate things. We kind of have two situations, right? Number one, as long as we remain below this value area high, I have extended this to the current price action as we are technically back inside the balance. Value area high sits here at about $71,200, and we do also have this previous high here at about $71,974. So very simply put, guys, I am holding my long here from $65,000. If we come back down to that POC, this is the next major kind of level underneath us, obviously. We do have the 786 sitting there. So I'll cover the key levels to the downside first. Take off that. We'll keep the golden pocket for now. POC 786, right? So you do have some kind of confluence down here. However, not as much confluence as we have at the value area low, right? We covered this on the market update yesterday. I just pulled this simple trend line here to the wicks. You can see we do have a little bit more confluence down here. We have the value area low. We have the trend line. We also have a weekly horizontal level. You can barely see it because it's right in line with that value area low. And then when we pull our full Fibonacci retracement from the absolute low to the absolute high, we have the golden pocket retracement in there, right? So I would say this level does have a bit more confluence. You have the golden pocket, the value area low, the weekly horizontal, golden pocket, value area low, weekly horizontal, and the golden pocket and the trend line, right? So, there is more confluence down here. Now, there is no guarantee that we're going to get that full fill of the range because obviously, guys, all the way back towards this first kind of major pullback that we had, we tested that low volume gap above. We'll get into that $80,000 target, guys. But we had the 10-hour money flow cruising to the upside, right? This is what gave us that initial thought process that once we shorted this high, we were really looking to ride this back down into the value area low to look for a higher low and a higher high to come. This is obviously already played out. But the money flow on the 10-hour does remain in the green. You can see this VWAP rolling back to the upside here, looking to potentially print another green dot. But, this higher time frame or higher hourly time frame money flow is still looking okay. Right? We also have the 12-hour and the 16-hour money flow, which is what we looked at right after the 10-hour money flow, looking for those to follow suit. And at the end of the day, right, after we see this failed auction, which we did get the setup for in the premium Discord to look for this to ride down. First target being the value area high. Second target, obviously, being the POC. And then, of course, we can look to ride that down to the value area low. But if we are going to kind of continue this bullish market structure, right, we do have the low, the high, the higher low, the higher high, the higher low, the higher high. And I'm open to looking for higher lows to come in here, right? Now, of course, within the profile, the POC is really the bigger target, in my opinion. I really prefer to see these POCs tapped. And then, of course, if we come down to the value area low, hopefully we can stay above this $65,500 low and, hold the trend line, right? From a very simple perspective, we kind of want to hold that trend line to potentially keep that target open here at $80,000. This is definitely in the cards based off our money flow. Remember, money flow does indicate the overall trend, which, of course, obviously would continue that bullish market structure. So this does still technically look good. We have to keep in the back of our mind, obviously, when we're sitting in a bear market, sometimes the money flow does like to, or a lot of the, just in general, right, in a bear market, money flow does like to spend a lot of time in the red. I'm not going to counter trade the money flow because it has a chance of faking out here. I'm just going to take this as at face value, which obviously does indicate the trend to continue up. So this is still valid, right? We already lost the value area high. The next major zone does sit at the POC. And of course, right, obviously you can drag when we're looking for higher lows and higher highs. The golden pocket 786 is a zone, right? And we are tapping that golden pocket. I'm going to zoom into the lower time frames with you guys in just a minute. But yeah, really, that POC is kind of the level, the major confluence that I would be looking at. Could we bounce from the golden pocket? Sure. Obviously, I'm already covered for my long from 65K. So if that is the case, right, if we do end up coming up here, the biggest level to flip locally would it be obviously to get out of this volume profile. I want to keep it kind of simple here, guys, because again, once you stay inside that profile, I am almost always looking for at least a push to the POC, if not the low, right? Technically, we're below the value area high. Right now, the probability stands as long as you remain inside that range, I'm going to look for that continuation down. That does not invalidate the idea of potentially continuing the uptrend, right? Now, if we did get a bounce off this golden pocket, I would like to get out of this value area, right, and then flip this previous high at about, 71.9 to support, right? That could indicate a bigger push to the upside. I'm going to cover these key levels of resistance with you, but again, I can't promise this is going to play out, but just in general, the way I'm handling this is I prefer to see that drop down towards the POC just from the volume profile perspective. I'm a volume profile trader. If that does not play out, if that does not play out, right, we have to get above that 71.9 level, hold above the value area, because on this way down, guys, we really did not want to see acceptance back into this profile, right? We kind of wanted to see a range retest to stay out of this volume profile, right? Once we get in here, obviously opens the door to lower prices. But for the aggressive move up, right, we got to get out of this volume profile. So I would say between about 71.1 and 72K, 71.9, that's the level to flip. If we're going to see some kind of, if we're going to see this volume profile kind of invalidate, we got to get above this zone, right? That would open the door to some other key levels of resistance, which I'm just going to pull a Fibonacci retracement. Major resistance ahead sits right here. Turn this purple for shorts or resistance, right? If we do end up getting a higher low here, we could look to come into this Fibonacci retracement. The line in the sand is going to be sitting at the 786 at about 74,551. If we get above here, guys, this is where I would anticipate that, hey, the low is probably in, right? Of course, I'm not going to long here, already long from 65K. But once we get that through that line in the sand at about $74,500, in my opinion, the only place I can really look at is to see the low volume gap continue to fill up here towards about, $78,000 to $80,000. This would be like the most bullish case right now, right? The low is in. We get out of the volume profile. Step number one, get above here. Once we get above here, I'll look for that full Fibonacci retracement. And then step number two would be to get outside of that 786 and see that bigger push up towards $80,000, in which case the long will continue to play out. I am still holding it. Same trade I showed yesterday, right? Up about $3,300. I'm just holding this thing. If it's going to play out, it's going to play out. And that would be kind of the most bullish case here, right? Right now, just like yesterday, as long as you remain below that value area high, this remains the lower probability scenario, right? Doesn't indicate that we're just going to go down to 60K, right? The line in the sand for 60K is to really lose this trend line, right? Value area low. We'll have one more opportunity, right? POC 786. Honorable mention support, right? If that doesn't hold, I'm looking down to the value area low. And then once we get accepted out of this value area, guys, same old song and dance that we've been talking about forever here. Lose that 786 at about 63,231. In my opinion, that's your last chance, right? And I honestly wouldn't even want to see this, right? Once we start losing that value area low, I'm starting to think this is probably not going to hold, and we're going to see that drop below 60K. And I don't make my decisions based off this, but as you guys know, right, I do think it would be very pretty, right, very nice for Bitcoin to see the, and we'll talk about this as well, right, 3-day red dot looking to print, 2-day red dot printing. Again, that kind of makes the more aggressive scenario here a little less probable, but I think it would look very nice, right, if we could just get that big drop down, put in those higher time frame bullish divergences. Now, the thing here is the market does not always give you what you want, right? I don't prefer this from a probability perspective, but I just think it would be really nice to see that bullish divergence form on the higher time frames. You can see our momentum waves here are potentially setting up. If that 2-day red dot confirms, 3-day red dot ends up printing, right? We do have a possibility of printing a nice bullish divergence here, and this would be a nice high time frame confirmation for a much bigger continuation to the upside. It almost looks too good, right? A lot of the times the market is not going to give you what you want. I'm starting to see a lot of people looking for this level, right? Which sometimes does make it high probability not to hit. Now, again, I'm not going to make any decisions based off that, right? Like, again, I am perfectly hedged here in the shorts and the longs. If price does end up coming down here, the 3-day red dot prints, we don't hold the POC, we don't hold the value area low, and we break down. Well, beautiful. My shorts will continue to pay me out down there. And then again, if we hold, right, I may look for a new long position, because if we come down here, I may look for a new long position at the value area low. But if we just get the shocking bounce, right, I'm already positioned for that, right? So, like, right now, is there a trade to take? I'll come down to the lower time frames and talk about it with you guys. But at the end of the day, like, I just don't know if the market's going to be that nice to give us that new low. Again, not making decisions off of that, just kind of walking you guys through what I'm looking at. It's very simple. If this, then that statement. If we don't hold here and we get the bigger drop down, I will 100% be looking for that 3-day and 2-day higher time frame bullish divergence. I will be very interested in longs down here. We have major high time frame support. We have the weekly MPOC, the weekly horizontal, and the monthly naked point of control. Come, fake out this low, print the bullish divergences, and then hopefully we could work our way back up in here. We'll have the idea that we have nice high time frame comps. And yeah, we just don't have that right now. You don't need the high time frame confirmations, but they do make it very a lot more confident for me to say that, like, the low is in, right? At least from a high time frame perspective. So for me personally, I'm sitting on my hands, right? Again, if I wake up tomorrow and we're sitting up at 80K, beautiful, my long is cooking. If we wake up and we're losing the value area low, well, beautiful, my shorts are cooking. So yeah, biggest levels to the upside, got to break above the value area high. So right now, we'll jump down to the lower time frames, and I'll kind of talk to you guys about what we're having pop up here. Super low time frame, we've hit the golden pocket, right? In general, if we hide the volume profiles, hide the MPOCs, right? At the end of the day, guys, this is a golden pocket retracement. It's an area where we can look for higher lows, right? Now, do I see that as a super high probability? Not really, because we're below the value area high. On top of that, we have money flow coming out here on the 2-hour. I would still have to say the continuation of that downtrend is higher probability, down to about $68,000. We'll see, right? Could this be a fake out? Maybe, right? But I just take the volume profile, money flow at face value. This is not what I want to see for a continuation of an uptrend. It's obviously the opposite, right? I'm looking for a continuation of the downtrend. But with that being said, right, we are coming down to support. If we're going to get a bounce, this is support, right? We've swept out this low. We're holding the golden pocket. We also did have some bullish CVD forming here on the order flow, right? So that could assist us on the move to the upside. If we do get that bounce, right, biggest level of resistance to look at, value area high. I would say value area high to $72,000 up to this high. All right, so we get a little local bounce here, right? I would be very careful here. If we are able to continue up, right, flip $72,000. Again, lower probability scenario, but that would be the key level to break, right? In that case, I'm looking up towards 73.2, up to about 74.68. At that point, flip 74, 468, right? About, let me get the actual numbers here. Where are we at? There we go. 74, 444 is the exact level. Once you're able to hold above that, that's where I think you have the best chance of putting in that new high. If you're going to see this golden pocket hold as a higher low, again, I do prefer to see the 786 because of the volume profile theory. But again, it is a zone. If we're going to hold that higher low, we got to get above 72K, and then you got to get above 74, 444. Very simple. Take this off the chart. Bada boom, bada bing. But yeah, I just like, it's very hard, right, with this money flow coming out, right? If I'm like, anytime we look at money flow indicates the overall trend. Now, again, on the 16 and the 12 hour, money flow still looks good for a continuation of the uptrend, right? But that does not mean we can't come lower on the lower time frames, right? So high time frame money flow looks pretty good. VWAP's coming up, money flow continuing to the upside, trend could continue up. But when you jump on down to those lower time frames, right, this could indicate a little bit more of a continuation down before we see that higher low come in. And then the line in the sand, very simply, is going to be that value area low, in my own humble opinion. Bada boom, right? Start losing the trend line. Yikes, right? This is the line in the sand, essentially, 786 daily MPOC. If we get confirmations down here, maybe I'll be interested in a long position. But again, you got to be careful on the way back up because this could be key resistance, right, for a bearish back test and a bigger drop down. I don't know what the chart's going to look like down here. If it looks bad, we'll have a higher probability of coming down. If it looks really good for a long, I'll take it. And, hopefully we can get accepted back into that profile. But at the end of the day, very, very simply put, guys, I know there's a lot of key levels on the chart right now. We're in a super choppy zone. But got to hold on top of that trend line, right? Like, we're just going to go back to elementary TA here. Trend line. Hold the trend line. We got to hold it, right? Breakdown. You can just get that bearish retest of the value area low and the trend line and then get the bigger drop down, right? Again, I don't know what the market's going to look like down here. I can't say I'm definitely going to take a long down here. If I don't get confirmations, I'm just going to sit in my short positions. Other than that, right, like nothing has really changed. I'm like trying to find something to talk about here, but there's just not much to update. Right. And then, of course, the full golden pocket retracement. This could still, right, even on the 3 and the 4 hour, we have this money flow starting to trend out. Right. So even if you get the retracement, you got to be careful here for a lower high and a lower low. So if I were to mark out my areas of personal interest, I would simply say, again, could you reject here? Could you reject here? There's going to be a ton of intermediary levels. But at the end of the day, the bigger areas of interest are going to be sitting right here. Mark these off on your chart, 73,195 to 74,444 at the 786, major level. Underneath us, the next major level is the POC, 786 confirmation, 786 confluence, sitting at $68,000, right? So major levels to mark off on your chart. I'm not doing anything until these levels are tapped, right? Anything that happens in here, I'm kind of indifferent personally because, again, I'm holding the long from 65K. I don't really have to take this long because if we continue up, I'm covered for much lower. But until we wind up coming down here, $68,000, here, 66 to about 65.5, level number 2, right? So to the downside, 68K, 66.1 to 65.5 is the next zone. And then to the upside, value area high, 7. I would mark this out as a zone, personally, because, again, these volume profile levels, you can kind of bing-bong around a little bit. 2 biggest areas to the downside, major key levels, 68, 66.1 to 65.5. To the upside, value area high, previous high at about 72K. So this is between about 71,060 to 72K. First major area of resistance. If we get above there, second area of interest sits up here, right? If we bing bong around here, again, what am I doing? Nothing really. Not taking a trade, not taking a trade, not taking a trade, not taking a trade, waiting for the key level, looking for the confirmation. If we don't get the confirmation there, we continue lower, not doing anything, not doing anything, not doing anything, waiting for the key level. Now, one thing I will say, depending on if we are going to come down and hit the 786 POC, right, at 68K, there's not a ton of confluence here. We have the 786, the POC, no trend line confluence, no naked points of controls. So there's less confluence, right? If we wind up spending a little time up here, maybe we create some kind of a mini range, right? We wind up coming down a little bit later. We'll understand that this trend line does eventually become confluent with the POC. So if it takes a little time to get down here, you do have an additional confluence there with the trend line. If we come down sooner than later, well, there's not really a ton of confluence, right? In that case, I still prefer this level. If we bang bong around, well, there's a little bit of an extra confluence there on the trend line. I don't know, exactly what's going to happen here. I would say low time frame. What I'm looking at here is the 5-hour money flow in the green, 80-minute green dot printing. But again, my personal preference, guys, is to continue lower, right? But you are at local support. But for me personally, right, like you can have your own plan. If you're not holding any longs, right, you can start looking for the longs down here at the golden pocket. But for me personally, I just don't care until we get to that POC or the value area low. For the shorts, right, I don't really care until we come up here or get the move up here. Very simple, right? Other than that, I'm sitting on my hands. I'm not sitting here watching the 1-minute time frame. I'm sitting here with alert set, waiting for them to go off. Let's see. Shout out to Thomas. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I'm going to come into chat here real quick. Said, still learning, wondering how significant The daily candle closing above the value area high for the bullish retest today, and if it fails, do we dump down fast? Actually, it's funny. Somebody asked me about candle closers in the premium Discord today, or in the premium live stream. You can look for candle closures, right? For me personally, right, I like to use money flow. And if you just look at this from a simple money flow perspective, volume profile perspective, right? Let me actually pull that volume profile back up. I mean, are we going to close this? We've already closed the daily candle in here, right? So, again, this is why my bias personally is a continuation down. Could that be wrong? Yeah. But, of course, you're not going to be right 100% of the time. We got about 3 hours and 25 minutes to get back above this, right? Get this candle to come back up here and close. What I would look for is the weekly candle, to be honest, right? If this weekly candle, obviously this hasn't closed. We still have 2 days and 4 hours. If the weekly candle gets back up here, this could be something you can look for, a very simple thing to look at. If we get this candle to wick back up and close above the value area high, I would say at that point, the value area high is holding as support, right? And especially if you can get above $72,000, that would look a little bit better for a bigger continuation up. But again, I'm going to say it for the 5th time, probably going to be the lower probability scenario, in my opinion, right? Now, I don't know where this weekly candle is going to close. We still have, again, 2 days of price action to wait for. I would be looking at the weekly candle because if you look at it from a daily perspective, we've already closed the daily candle inside of here. Maybe we come down to the POC. We wind up getting back up here, and then on Sunday, you get that weekly candle closure above, right? That would look okay. But the daily candle, in my opinion, you've already gotten a daily candle closure back here. You've already bearishly retested the value area high. And, guys, all the intermediary, the key levels, all the lower time frames aside, just look at the 3 hour, right? 3 hour money flow is coming out. You're getting accepted back into your value. You've bearishly retested. To me, that calls for a move down to the POC at least, if not the value area low. Again, that does not mean, oh my God, short, we're going to the value area low. But if I were to have some kind of bias there, this looks more like acceptance into the profile. Similar here. Drop in, bearish retest, back to the POC. And technically your 3 hour money flow was also coming out. So there you go. Shout out to Thomas. I would pay more attention to the weekly candle. 2 day money flow looking good, but daily not. Which should we focus on? Yeah, shout out. I actually talked about this yesterday and the day before. It is weird, right? Because you have the 10 hour money flow coming into the green, right? Which was, again, what we looked at to anticipate this higher low, which is why I'm holding that long right here. And then we look at the 12 hour. Well, hey, if the 10 hours crossing over, the 12 hours probably going to follow. Then the 16 hours going to follow. Then you would think, right? You would hope typically when you see this, the daily would follow right after those. But we kind of skipped over the daily, and now the 2 day is what's looking good, not the daily. So this is kind of isolated. Daily money flow is still kind of flat here. It's a difficult situation, guys. And I will say this, if you're out there, granted, right, most of the, almost all the trades that we've looked at in the Discord, right, the main setups, short from here, long from here, short from here, they have played out, right? And this is why I always say sometimes the best trade is no trade. It's been very choppy here, right? You get super bullish at the high where, I try to come up here and say, am I FOMOing long here? Absolutely not. I can only look for shorts, which obviously is more often than not going to be the right decision. But, if you don't know what to do, if you're sitting here and you're not holding a trade and you're like, oh my God, should I long or should I short? Sometimes there's no setup, right? Now, again, from a lower time frame perspective, if you pull your golden pocket, 786, right? It's all right, well, you hit your golden pocket. I technically had some bullish divergences form into it. They're not pretty. Could you take a long here? Sure, right? Obviously, he's already gotten the bounce. This could be another higher low, potentially locally, right? Could you look for these low time frame setups? Yes. But for me personally, right, there's not really a trade to be taken in here because my key levels sit here and here. There's no real short to take because the key levels sit here, which we've already bearishly retested, and here, right? I know a lot of people get itchy to take a trade, right? But again, I try to come up here, especially, I kind of like it from an education perspective if I miss a trade, right? For example, caught this short, caught this long, right? But back here, I missed this long position. But what do I say when I get up here? Oh my God, should I get into a long? Oh my God. No, I'm going to wait for the confirmation and then take the short. right? And which we obviously did. Paid out. Made a bunch of money on this. Inside, right, when we're pumping, right, oh my God, should I long, should I short, should I long, should I short? No. The key levels were sitting up here. What do I do here? Nothing. I just let price go. All right, cool. If I hit this key level, I'll look for the short. If I don't hit that key level, I let price play out, right? So inside of here, for me, on my plans, I'm not interested until we get here, 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 or here. And to be honest, like, I'm not looking to take a long here because I'm already have the long from 60K or 65K. And I'm not even really, I mean, maybe I'm interested in a short up here potentially. But trading is a game of trapping, not a game of hunting, right? So it's like, oh my God, should I long, should I short? Should I long, should I short? You can have a lower time frame trading plan, of course. But for me personally, right, I'm just sitting on my hands waiting for the levels, right? But what if it pumps from here? I'm not in a trade. Well, again, right, you want to be well positioned. I don't care if we take off from here because I already took the long at my key level that I waited patiently for. Right? I wasn't sitting here going, oh my God, I got a long. Oh my God, I got a long. Right? I just wait. I actually did take a long here, got stopped out. But that was because it was a key level. Right? Was this a bad trade because I got stopped out? No. I had my key level. I saw my confirmations. I take the trade. Got stopped out. I wait for my next key level. Once I got stopped out of this long, was I like, oh my God, I got a long here. Oh my God, I got a long here. Oh my God, I got a long here. No, I patiently wait. I let price move up or down, and I wait to hit the next key level. Then I take the long. And always within the volume profile, like 99% of the time, I'm always going to look for the longs at the lows, right? I very rarely, there's certain scenarios where I will take a long at a POC, but you could just see here, right? I took this long. What happened? I stopped out, went to the low. What long played out? The long from the low, right? More often than not, you're going to see that play out, which, you know, again, just from a probability perspective. So for me, like, I know everyone's like, should I long? Should I short? For me, there's no trade here, right? You could take a trade here, of course. But for me, I'm just waiting for the next key levels. Very, very simple. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. You don't want to get chopped up. Like, imagine, right? Like, I missed this move up, and I'm just like, oh, my God, I got a long. Wrecked. Oh, my God, I got a long. Wrecked. I just want to wait for those key levels. And then what do? I hit the key levels. I take the short, and look at that. It plays out. Let's see. Let me just, I think I missed a super chat here. Let me just check in on this. Shout out to Blah. Thank you for the super chat. Says long and short term ZBCNTA, please, and best buy price. Shout out to Blatt. I will try to take a look at ZBCN in a second. We're going to take a look at the altcoins. I'm going to start with the big boys, and then I'll try to check in on ZBCN with you guys. Friendly reminder, please do not super chat your altcoins. It does not guarantee that we will look at them. Everyone FOMO long. Shout out to Trembler. FOMO long right now. Zero stop loss, guys. It's going to 200K from here. Imagine that plays out. Do I change any settings on market site for B? No, I'm using the only settings I changed here were colors. Everything from a calculation standpoint is default. Shout out to Eric. Says, what if it stops you out, but then it doesn't go to the next key level? Very simple. You just FOMO in. I'm joking. You do not do that. For example, right, you just mark out the next key levels, right? So try to find an example here. This example, right? So I did not take this long position. I do not FOMO, right? And it doesn't mean you can't take a long, right? You just have to have a key level. You have to have a plan, right? So if your idea here is, right, of course, deviate below the low, get back inside the range, the POC is very likely next. Do I long here? No, right? Let's say I was waiting for this level, right? Let's say I get stopped out and then price just continues up without me. Oh my God, I'm missing the move. But you have to fight this, right? No one can really make you do this, right? I saw somebody talking about this on Instagram. They were like, no one can really turn you into a profitable trader. People could teach you the strategies. People could teach you the risk management. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you, right? No one can force you to stick to your plan. No one can force you to take profit. No one can force you to set a stop loss. And that's really the things that are going to make you money over time. Of course, the TA and the strategies are important, but a lot of people are hunting for a strategy that's just like going to show them where to long. They could just take the long and it's going to win every time, or, you know, and they're not going to have to struggle with the hardest part of trading, which is the psychological discipline, not just having a positive mindset, right? It's actual psychological discipline. So, for this example, let's say I was waiting for this key level down here. Let's say I take a long, it stops me out, and it doesn't hit my key level. Really, the question there is, well, what do you do, right? You just wait for another setup, right? You don't, oh no, we're frozen. Why are we frozen? Okay. You don't just like FOMO in for no reason. You just have to wait for another setup. It's not that you can't long, right? But in this case, you would want to wait for a pullback, right? A lot of people would ask me like, oh my God, are you going to long here? No, never would I long here. Why? We're at resistance, right? Does this mean you cannot take a long ever? No. Well, you just want to wait for another setup. Where's your key levels? Here, right? Well, you have key resistance, and then your key support is the value area low. Do you have the Fibonacci confluence? Potentially. Let's see here. Pull from the low to the high. Where are you going to be looking? Let's say money flow is coming up, which it obviously was. Here, it doesn't mean you can't long. If you have a bias that this is going to fill in full, it doesn't mean you can't long because you missed the long from the bottom. You just have to wait for some kind of a pullback, right? So here, what would I say? I would say, where's the key level of support? If I'm looking for a higher low and a higher high, the zone of support would be the value area low, golden pocket 786. Low, high. If we're going to get the higher low, it's going to come in somewhere in this zone. So I would wait patiently for the pullback, wait till I pulled into my key level. Whoops. Wait till I pulled into my key level, then I'm looking for the trade, right? But what am I doing in here? Oh, I got a long. Oh, I got a long. Oh, my God, I got a long. Oh, my God. No, you're patiently waiting for that key level to get tapped. And now the next question is, what if it doesn't come down to that key level and it just continues up? Then price moves and you miss the trade, right? You're gonna win trades, you're going to lose trades, and you're going to miss trades, right? If my key level was not until up here, I wouldn't touch it until I got up here, right? So at the end of the day, right, I think the answer to that question is you're going to miss trades, right? If it doesn't come down to hit your key level, if you don't get the setup to present itself, there is no trade, right? You're always going to have an opportunity to click long or short. Price is always going to go up or down, but if you want a high probability setup that is going to more often than not have a high probability of playing out in your favor, you have to be patient, right? You can't be itching to gamble and itching to be addicted to the charts and click buy or sell every 5 seconds, right? Because again, I know the next question is like, what if it front runs that level and then it goes up? Well, then you just missed the trade, right? The one thing you do not want to do is chase it, right? But more often than not, if you have good key levels, price will more often than not come down to those key levels, right? So I think the simple answer to that question is, what if the price front runs the level and goes on without you? You just have to find another setup. If it front runs that setup, you missed that trade, right? You're not going to really oftentimes be in a situation where like you missed the trade. You're not never going to be able to take a trade again. You have to have patience. And what is that emotion? Let's identify the emotion. The emotion is greed. Oh, I missed money. I need that money. Oh my God, I need that money now. No, you just got to wait for that setup. Be patient. If you don't have the patience to wait for your setups to present themselves, you're going to wind up taking trades. And in hindsight, you're going to be like, let's say I did FOMO in here. I FOMO'd in here, right? Or I FOMO'd in, early. I'd look back after putting in the higher low at the high probability area, right? I'd get stopped out, and then price continues up, and I'll be like, man, I should have just waited for the key level. Why did I chop myself up in this garbage, right? It takes a long time to understand that, right? It takes experience. It takes making those mistakes over time to actually say, hey, something's not working here. Let me change something. So simple answer, sometimes you just miss the move. Like, what happens if I miss the move? Then you miss the move, right? There's a million other trades you can take. And again, this is why I talk about this stuff. I missed this long position, right? Now, me personally, based off my personal trading plan, right, I was just really interested in this major key level of resistance, right? I just let the price go up, and then I take the short. Oh, my God, I missed money here. I made it here. If you missed this trade, oh, my God, I missed the money here. I got to long it. 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 Oh, my God, I'm going to short it finally. Boom, right? I wait patiently for the level. I take the trade. You have to have a plan. Hopefully that answers your question. Yes, shout out to Lyndon. Missing trades is okay, but chasing is bad. Traditionally, yeah. Or not traditionally, but yeah, more often than not, it's going to be bad. Sometimes, and the worst thing you can do, the reality of the matter, right? Again, we shorted here. We have the short setup here. At the end of the day, you could wait a long time for this level, get the confirmations, take the trade, and it just continues up. Now on the next trade, you're going to see a nice short setup, and you're going to say, last time it didn't play out, I'm going to chase this one, right? Sometimes you're going to chase the trade, right? And I say this every time we come up, right? I said it here. I said it here. I'm not chasing this personally. Could you chase this and it plays out? Maybe, right? There's a chance it'll play out, and that's the worst thing you could do to yourself, right? It's more important to I would say it's more beneficial to miss the trade and let price play out and miss the trade than take a bad trade setup and have it play out, right? If you chase this and it plays out, that will happen sometimes. You get lucky. You're going to think that that's a consistent strategy. You're like, oh my God, last time I chased it, price was going up, I FOMO'd long, and I made money. That is not going to consistently make you money over time. That is gambling, right? And more often than not, what is going to happen? You're going to chase the trade, get wrecked. Then you're shorting. Oh my God, price is dumping. It's going down without me. Short, wrecked. Oh my God, it's going up without me. Long, wrecked. Sometimes you're going to go, oh my God, it's going up without me. Let me just FOMO long, and it's going to play out. That's the worst thing that can happen to you because that's training your brain something that is not going to consistently make you money over time. Does that make sense? Trust me, this is where I started, right? I've learned all these lessons the hard way. I didn't get to skip this part, right? I had to learn these hard lessons to finally, why do I not freak out when I miss this long position, right? Because I've freaked out about missing long position, FOMO'd at the tops, and gotten wrecked 1,000 times. And it took those mistakes to actually teach me, let me actually wait for a setup, right? And then once I start waiting for the setups, all of a sudden, I'm short in the highs, I'm long in the lows, right? So, FOMO all day. Shout out to Bubble. I mean, you can, right? We're all adults. So you can FOMO if you want. It'll play out sometimes. You have to be skilled at FOMO to do it right. Yeah, if you're a good FOMOer, then FOMO. And even if you are just I always say this, guys, there's so many ways to trade. At the end of the day, if someone breaks every trading rule and they're actually making money and not lying about making money, they're like, I just FOMO when it goes up and I make money every time. Keep doing that. Don't listen to anything else. If you're making money trading based off what based off what your goldfish says, keep doing that if it's making you money. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Hey, I trade the moon phases. I would never trade moon phases, ever. If you make money trading moon phases, keep doing that if it's actually making you money, right? Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Saw said, unless I die tomorrow, there's always time to catch a pullback. That's what I tell the premium. The faucet is always on, right? And especially from a leverage trading perspective, there's always another trade to take, right? As long as price not only goes up, but also goes down, there's a trade to take, right? And again, I'll just say it. This will be the last time I ever say this on the channel. Trading is a game of trapping. If I have a key level up here, and a key zone of support down here, and my plan is to look for shorts up here and longs down here, I am not interested in what price is doing here. Oh my God, it's going up. Oh my God, it's going down. Oh my God, it's going up. Should I short here? What if we front run my level? I don't care. If it front runs my level and goes without me, I miss that trade. I'll catch another one down here at my next key level, right? You want to wait for the mouse to take the cheese. Set your key level. Here's my trading checklist. Key level tapped, entry confirmation, confluence. If I see these three things, I take the trade, right? So here's my key level. Price came up, front ran the level. Oh my God, it missed should I FOMO short now? No. Why? I didn't even get my first check, which is tap the key level. What happens if price comes up, taps the key level, and I get no entry confirmation? Well, I hit the key level. Does that instantly mean short? No. I did not get the entry confirmation. I sit out of the trade. More often than not, price will hit the key level with no confirmation. It's probably not going to get respected. It's going to continue out. Congratulations, you just avoided a bad trade. If it comes into the key level, I get my confirmations. I have confluence. I hit the key level. Confirmation. Let's say it's just a bearish divergence in this case. Money flow is coming out, right? Looking like the trend is going to continue down. Then, and only then, do I take the trade, right? Now I have a high probability of this playing out. If I don't get the confirmation, I sit on my hands. It's probably not going to play out, right? And I'll avoid the bad trade. Game of trapping, not a game of hunting. I'm not a momentum trader, right? Some people will trade momentum. Some people will trade breakouts. A lot of people will be like if you're a breakout trader, right, you're probably trading, if you're looking at this as resistance, you're probably going to trade up here. You're going to take the long here because it's a breakout. I'm the opposite, right? I'm more of a trap trader, right, or a reversal trader or a contrarian trader. I see these as fake outs, and I trade the opposite end of them. You can make money breakout trading, right? It's not the way I trade, so I don't trade breakouts. I fade them, right? I don't fade every breakout. If I see a breakout on high volume with money flow coming up, I think that breakout's probably going to consistently continue up. I do take breakout trades sometimes, but I only take them off of very specific things. I don't just see a break of resistance and then long. More often than not, if I break resistance, right, if I come up here and peak above here, I'm thinking, hey, what's money flow doing? Do I have a confirmation? Bearish divergences, money flow coming out. This is probably going to be a fake out for a failed auction and a move down. Could it be wrong? Yes. What happens if it's wrong? I get stopped out for a small loss, and I live to trade another day. Long term, right? Shout out to Soft said, holy moly, that was incredibly helpful. Yeah, shout out to Soft, especially if you're a new trader, right? A new trader, like, if you try to explain this stuff to a new trader, they're thinking like, next time we're getting a big pump and I look for a short, a lot of people are probably like up here. Why is this guy looking for a short? We're pumping. This is obviously bullish. Look at this. We're moving up. Why would, like, price is going up. The trend is your friend. Why wouldn't I long? Well, you can long, right? But you don't want to long the top of the move, right? You want to wait for a pullback, which again, long term, maybe we continue the higher time frame trend, right? Like right here. Technically, I was bullish here for a higher low and a higher high, right? I thought higher prices were coming. It doesn't mean they're going to come right here, right? I want to wait for a pullback to then catch that long at the key support. And then long the low, not long the top. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Jesse. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. How do people know what the key level is? Just off support and resistance. Shout out to Boy. This is part of the learning process, right? So you have to learn how to find those key levels, which obviously I've been teaching for free here on YouTube for like dang near 4 or 5 years. So you can check out the beginner series on the YouTube channel. Check out the beginner series playlist. Watch through all those videos, and all those questions will be answered. I show you how to find the key levels, how to find confluence, how to find trade setups, how to use market cipher, how to use the volume profiles, and I give you like a top-down view of kind of what I like to see for trades, right? Volume profiles are very simple. Typically, in a volume profile, inside the value area, which is here. If you don't know what a value area is, go watch those tutorials, right? This is essentially fair value, right? This is a fair price. Typically, when you deviate above the fair price, this is looked at as expensive. This is where I look for shorts. For a high probability, rotation back into the range, to the PLC, to the low. When I get to the low, this is looked at as cheap price. I look for longs, back up to the high. When I get above the high, this is looked at as expensive. If and only if there's a trade setup, right? Eventually, you're going to break up or break down. But if I get the confirmations and I take a short and I get accepted back into the range, well, hey, just like up here, it would look for good for a move back down to the POC and the value area low, right? Very magnetic, simple way to view the market, right? I'm not gonna look for a long, right? Like, why would I be buying something if I knew that if I could see this, right? Fair value, buyers and sellers agree that inside this range is fair value. Above is expensive, sell it back in. Into the low is cheap, buy it back up. You want to be buying when it's cheaper, right? You don't want to be buying when it's above value. If this is the fair value, think about this as a car. If a car is $20,000 and all of a sudden the price goes up and it's $30,000, I don't want to buy it up here. I want to wait for it to go back down to what it usually sells at, right? Maybe the lower end of where it sells at. That's where you want to buy it, right? It's discounted. That's the theory, right? All right, so let's go. I'm gonna jump into some of the altcoins as well. Shout out to Kit Kat Addict in the chat. Hey, bro, we've been trying to tell you to cut back on the Kit Kats. I know they're addicting. Kit Kats are actually fire. Not as good as Reese's. I'm a Reese's Maxi. Do I take a position when volume seems low if the conditions are met, or do you wait for more movement? Shout out to Nadia. It's very simple. If I get the confirmation, like down here, bullish divergences into the low, right? Lower lows. You're not always going to be looking for bullish divergences necessarily. All the, trading entry triggers are going to be slightly different, right? In each scenario. Sometimes it's an SFP, sometimes it's bullish CVD. There's all different types of entry triggers you can look at. But here, for example, you have bullish divergences into the low. Lower lows on price action, higher lows on your momentum waves. This is a bullish confirmation. I have videos on this in the beginner series as well. This is telling me this is a reversal signal, right? This is what I like to see. I'm at a value area low. Price is cheap. I am now seeing a bullish entry trigger. I then take the trade, right? Especially if I have money flow trending to the upside, indicating the trend is likely to continue up, right? I'm at the value area low. Price is cheap. This is where I look for longs. Entry trigger gives me the opportunity to take the trade. Money flow is giving me confidence that the trend is going to continue up through the profile to fill the value in full. So, I mean, typically if you have like a low vol, I don't really trade on the weekends, right? The weekends are a little bit lower volume. I don't really trade on the weekends. You kind of get choppy gross price action. But like if I were looking here and I was like, the volume's really low, I'm not going to take the trade. Very rarely do I do that. If I get the confirmations into the key level, I take the trade. Shout out to Razzie. Where do I like to mark out the volume profiles? Check out the beginner series. We got all the tutorials showing you exactly how to pull them and where I personally pull them, right? I mark out the fair value. Fair value typically lives in ranges, right? So anytime I see a range, I'm pulling that volume profile to find out the fair value and then find where I should be looking for shorts, where I should be looking for longs. And again, eventually you're going to break out or break down, right? What do I use to identify that? I simply look at money flow, right? It's part of the reason why if we have this 12 and 16-hour money flow coming into the green, it could indicate that, hey, we could be looking for higher lows and higher highs, which is one of the few times that I'm interested in longs at the POC rather than just the value area low. Because if I'm going to put in higher lows and higher highs, it could come in here. So, yeah. Weekends are usually dead. Yeah, I don't really trade the weekends. Shout out to Dylan. Said, best TA. I appreciate you, bro. All right, let's jump into the altcoins here. I'll take a quick look at Ethereum or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. All right, so let's take a look here. We already ran through this. So this was our kind of first local support. Obviously, the bigger level of support sitting down here towards the value area high of the range. I would say personally, right, kind of similar to Bitcoin, the hope here for Ethereum, right? Obviously, major support. We have the daily MPOC. We actually already tapped. We kind of front ran it. Golden Pocket, daily MPOC, weekly MPOC, value area high. It would be very nice to hold on top of this range, right? This is where we still have this support underneath us. This sits between $2,100 and $2,066. Value area high. If we want to continue up aggressively, you do not want to break back down into this range. Just like Bitcoin. You break down into the value area high, can't get out. Eventually, you're going to be targeting the POC, right? Technically, you have the 786 sitting just underneath here. Let me actually take a look. You have some equal lows down here. Relative equal lows. So, yeah. This is your first major level of support. You've kind of tapped into the box already, $2,100 to $2,066. If we continue down, let's say Bitcoin goes to the POC, Ethereum could potentially continue down to retest that value area high. This is a key level to hold. Once we lose the golden pocket, where do you expect price to go next? Lose the golden pocket, high probability price is going to seek out that 786. So this is an honorable mention, kind of similar to Bitcoin's POC. 2008. Financial crisis. 2008, this would be a key level to look at. And specifically here, I'll give a little bit of free sauce here. You do have relative equal lows here. Could look to take out this liquidity. So if we don't hold the golden pocket value area high, lose the golden pocket, I'd be looking to go down to the 786. If this does not hold, I'm looking down towards the PLC and the value area low, sitting between 1948 and 1914. I was actually born in 1914, so that's my lucky number. But these would be the biggest areas of interest for me on Ethereum, right? If we can't hold this, I'm looking for the drop down here. If we can't hold this, I'm looking for the drop down here. Ideally, you don't break back into the profile, and you could just get a range retest for a higher low and a continuation up. If we continue up, the next major target sits up here still at, we've already looked at this, 24.32 up to about 24.58. Get above that, I'm looking at about 24.91 to 25.22. Right? It's just simple previous value. And obviously, you can use the volume profiles to find your trades. And again, any asset, anything you look at, right? Where are you going to be looking for the shorts? When price is expensive, deviating above the high. Where are you going to be looking for longs? Price deviating below the lows. Short here, accepted back into the range. POC is likely. Lose the POC, value area low. Deviate below, back into the range. POC is next. Hold inside the range, value area high. Short, long, short, long. And you can even see here, right? Price comes to the POC. Oh my God, we're bouncing. Oh my God, we're bouncing. Boop. You get that wick directly into the value area low. I love to see these fill in full. So those are the key levels on Ethereum. Just underneath you got right here. Break this. I'm looking down to about 2008. Lose this. I'm looking down between about 1948 to 1914. 2008 financial crisis. Shout out to Hangman Terry in the chat. Welcome in. Can we look at gold? Yeah, we'll take a look at gold. Gold actually coming down to one of our key levels that we looked at recently. You must have a fountain of youth. Yeah, shout out to Lyndon. I'm very old. I'm very old. I have really good genes, though. I have very good genes. ADA, yeah, we'll try to take a look at Cardano. But yeah, there's Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Solana. Solana has tapped into the value area high. And again, right, like all this structure is very similar, right? We were stuck in this volume profile. Ethereum, stuck inside the volume profile. Bitcoin, stuck inside the volume profile, right? So like in general, it all remains, sentiment and just general thoughts remain exactly the same. Solana technically holding on top of the, look at this daily and weekly MPOC. Oh, we front ran it. Oh man. But value area high down to this daily and weekly MPOC. This still is untapped, so this still does remain valid at about 86.86. If we could hold, this is your support, right? If we lose this, I am simply looking at this as acceptance into the range, move to the POC. POC sits at about, and let me actually pull a fib here real quick from this entire move up, which again, where did we come up from? Value area low. After a deviation and a full rotation back down. So yeah, you do also have your golden pocket here. So I'm actually going to move this to the daily MPOC and the weekly MPOC on top of that golden pocket. Oof, barely front ran there, man. But yeah, if we could stay above this, stay out of the range, your next major level remains 92.38 at the previous value area low. Like even here, right? You get accepted into the range, retest. Where's price likely to go next? The POC. Where does price reject from? Right from the POC. These key levels are honestly superior, in my opinion, to any other key levels that you can look at, right? Because it's based off volume. It's not just some random horizontal level. But yeah, you're just kind of in between these volume profiles. The hope is to not get accepted back into this range, right? Lose this golden pocket, POC is next. Lose the POC 786, and we're trying to stay above this anchored VWAP, which would be nice, right? Holds as support, new high. Holds as support, new high. Tried to hold it, now you're playing with this, right? If you can get above this, this is, again, if I were to mark out all these levels, right? Value area high, golden pocket underneath you. I would say this is also, once you lose this 786, right? You're accepted into the range, you lose the golden pocket. Maybe you get a bounce off the POC. Once you lose this 786 POC, where am I looking? Down to the low. So biggest levels underneath you. Golden pocket, daily and weekly MPOC, 86.86 to 86.26. Lose that. You have your POC 786, last level to bounce, in my opinion, before seeing the low. This sits between about 84.94 and 83.84. What is with these numbers? That's weird. And then again, right, once I lose this 786, if I'm looking for higher lows and higher highs, I'm hoping it either comes in at the golden pocket. If not, I'm hoping it comes in at the 786. If I lose this 786, I'm looking to take out this low. So this is actually really key. This 786 at 83.90. Lose this, I'm looking to take out this low, right? And again, it also lines up with the idea of being accepted into the range and rotating in full. From a money flow perspective, it's 4-hour money flow. I mean, you got the green dot printing right now, but this 4-hour money flow is technically trending out. This indicates a higher chance of a continuation of the downtrend. So those are the key levels. And other than that, right, you just have this upper profile, lower profile. You do not want to get accepted back below this POC. You want to hold all this and get accepted up in here for a move higher. Just make sure I didn't miss anything here in the chat. Do you give your stops room to breathe on short positions in a bear market, Frankie? Shout out to Aaron. Yes. And again, your stop loss, there's a element of like subjectivity and preference with how much your stop loss. Like I teach this in some of the tutorial videos. Let's just say I have a key level of support, right? Or we'll just say a short because that's, key level of resistance. Let's say I look to take the short. My stop losses are always based off technical invalidations, right? So, for example, like on Solana, let's just say I'm looking for a long position at the 786, right? Let's say I want to long this 786, or let's say I want to long the POC. Let's say I want to long this zone, right? My invalidation, the idea here would be if price comes down here, I'm looking for a higher low and a higher high to continue the uptrend. Where's the invalidation there? Well, the invalidation is once you lose that 786. Of course, if you put your stop loss like right on the 786, right? Like unfortunately, price is not just going to be beautifully tapping each level. And, you could wick down here, close above. So you do want to give your trade a little bit of room to breathe. How much room is kind of personal preference. But at the end of the day, right, the invalidation for this trade is to lose that 786. If I come underneath this 786 and I start losing it, right, well, the higher low thought process is invalidated at that point, right? If you want to give your trade a little bit more room to breathe, maybe you want to hold it down here, you have a much bigger stop loss. That's okay, right? But the size of your stop loss should not affect the amount that you're losing, the way I trade, right? Because I want to have not a dynamic... I say for new traders, you want to risk around 1 to 2% of your account, right? So how can I take this trade with this tight? If I take this tighter stop loss, I can have a bigger position size, right? I could put more money. I can not risk more money, but I can have a bigger position size, right? So if I'm taking a $10,000 long here. If I want to move my stop loss lower, I want to give it more room to breathe. That's totally fine, right? But I'd have to lower that position size. I won't be able to take it, say a just for random number, $10,000 position size. Maybe I can only take a $6,000 position size because I have to account for that extra drawdown. Otherwise, if I take a $10,000 position size with my stop here, and then I don't change my position size and move my stop loss down, let's say if I take a $10,000 position size here, and if I lose this trade, I get stopped out, I'm going to lose 1% of my account. If I keep that same position size, and I make my stop loss bigger, well, now I'm increasing the risk, right? Because with that same position size, if price goes down here and stops me out, I'm going to lose more than 1% of my account, right? I always recommend 1 to 2% of your account, at least in the beginning, just because if you only risk 1% of your account on each trade, you literally can lose 50 trades in a row and still have more than half your account left. This is how you don't blow up your account in 2 trades. And then this also, in turn, removes a lot of the emotion from trading, right? Because you're not thinking, oh my God, if I get stopped out of this, I'm going to ruin my account. You should never be in that position, right? Anytime you lose a trade, you should go, didn't play out. That's okay. I only lost 1%. I can live to trade a bazillion more days. So you could give your, and if you watch in the beginner series, there's a video called The Only Leverage Trading Tutorial You Need. Go watch that video. I explain this concept in that video in detail, and I actually show you how to do it on the exchange. So yeah, you could, at the end of the day, give your trade a ton of room to breathe, right? I don't do that, right? For me, invalidation to 786, that stop loss is going to be somewhere down here. How much room I give myself, I would have to adjust my position size, right? Bigger the stop loss, smaller the position size. If I snipe a bottom, right, let's say I snipe it right here and have a super tight stop loss, I could take a much bigger position size. I have a much higher chance of getting stopped out, right? Because the price doesn't, price wicks down one more time, I'm out, right? But if it does end up holding there and it's the bottom, I can have a much bigger position size, right? So I'll make a lot more money on the way up. It's kind of a trade-off you have to decide. Hopefully that answers your question. I learned so much through your videos, Frankie. Shout out to Inky. That makes me happy, bro. That's why we do it. That's why we do it. But I'm a D-Gen. Shout out to Elite. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a D-Gen. But, hey, I mean, if you get wrecked, I mean, I'm not going to say I've never taken a degenerate trade in my life. I mean, I take degenerate trades sometimes, too. But if I get absolutely cooked on them, I'm like, whose fault is that? It's my fault. That's my fault. All right, let's see. Massive pump on the SPY. I actually covered this in the premium Discord. We covered this recently, guys. Daily money flow coming out on the SPY. Looking for the continuation of that downtrend. I believe it was right here. We got it, right? Low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. Now, one thing I will say, 2-day money flow on the SPY is continuing out. This indicates to me, in my opinion, right, I do not trade the SPY. I have my thumb on the pulse of Bitcoin and crypto, right? But at the end of the day, Market Cypher B works the exact same way. If I were to say anything about the SPY here, it's that you could be starting a bigger correction here, right? Now, we have the 2-day green dot looking to print. You got the daily VWAP trying to roll back up, even the 3-day VWAP attempting to roll back up. But what does that say to me? Money flow indicates the trend, not the ebbs and the flows. Red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. That's what the green and red dots indicate. The money flow indicates the trend. So when I look at this 2-day, I say to myself, if we get a bounce off that 2-day green dot, 3-day green dot, I would have to be looking at this to be a lower high and a lower low for a bigger continuation down. It does look like we could get a bit of a bigger correction here on the SPY. Quick little SPY analysis here. Again, we looked at that daily money flow, and you could just see, just like on Bitcoin, it plays out very similarly, right? Sure, the green and red dots, green dots give you little ebbs or flows. Bounce, rejection, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. But the trend continues down. 2-day money flow is now also coming out. So you could get a bounce here. And you are also at key support. Actually, if I pull this up, I marked off the chart with the premium today. Right? We have come down into some key support. We have a lot of confluence in this zone, so I wouldn't be surprised if you get a bounce. But my overall thought process, you're losing your value, potential lower highs and lower lows to come. Once we start losing, like, I would say 635, I'm looking down to about 608. So I know not a lot of people are here for stock analysis, but that's what I'd be looking at here on the SPY. Once we lose this, could be on our way down to about 608. And then we have massive, massive support down there. So I'm not, doesn't have to be an instant drop, but that money flow does look like it may want to continue a bigger correction. We are at support, right? Keep that in mind. I would never short here. But once we lose this, might be on the way for a bigger pullback towards, first major level I'd look at is 608. And then once you get accepted in here, could be headed down towards about 580. So quick little brief interruption there for some SPY analysis. All right, let's take a look at what did Bled want to see? ZBCN. Let's take a quick look at that. And then take a look at Cardano. We'll take a look at XRP. Let's take a quick look here. All right, so let's take a look at the higher time frames. I'll take a look at gold after ZBCN. I did say I would take a look at that. Shout out to, oh man, I can't say this, bro. Shout out to S4B. What's up, bro? Welcome in. Wall Street can now manipulate 24/7, even on the weekends with the S&P. Yeah. Invited in the devil with that. All right, so take a look at ZBCN. Look at that. Daily MPOC. Let me get rid of some of these levels because these are all old. Let me make sure I don't have another ZBCN chart. What is this? The Bybit. Let's check it on MEXC. All right, so we were on the right chart. Let's just get rid of some of these older levels. We haven't looked at this in a while. Boom, boom, old. All right, so Daily MPOC value area high, obviously support. Still a big level if we continue down. Technically, this daily MPOC has been tapped here, is front run here. So technically he didn't tap it, but he got pretty dang close. Oh, wait, hang on 1 second. Bear with me here, guys. Let me pull up fresh MPOCs here because that was from a really long time ago. Oh, man, I'm not going to be able to pull those. Let's see, the weekly. All right, so you have a tap. I'm not going to mark this out, but you had a weekly MPOC here. Again, we haven't looked at this in forever, but let me just mark out some high time frame levels here for you. So you got a weekly MPOC sitting right here. There's my timer for the short stream. Looks like my timer is going to be pissed off at me because we're not done yet. You got a weekly MPOC up here. Let me check the monthlies. You got a monthly MPOC up here. So you are approaching major resistance. No monthly horizontal. You do have a weekly horizontal on that value area low. Whoops. Okay, just pull up the dailies again, get the local dailies. Yeah, you got a daily MPOC in there. All right, so you do have a bit of confluence up here. And then got one right here. And you got one right here. Okay, somebody can take that off. So you definitely have major resistance sitting here. Weekly, two daily MPOCs, a monthly MPOC, and a weekly MPOC right here. So you are approaching major resistance. Just see this with some fibs. Okay, so you're rejecting the golden pocket. You have the 786 up there in that zone as well. So right now you're currently rejecting the golden pocket retracement of this entire move down. So that's why you're getting this pullback here. If you do, let's just say you continue up, and I'll cover the like other key levels, but if you do continue up, I would say major resistance sits between about, 29086 and 32472. That's your major resistance above. And of course, this would have already been incorporated if I had seen this beforehand, but obviously you're already rejecting that golden pocket. So get above the golden pocket. Your next major level of resistance is right there in confluence with your value area low. And then to the downside, let me take a look at these daily time frames here. 2-day money flow trying to come back into the green. Doesn't mean you can't pull back. So if you do get a continued pullback here, biggest level I would look at personally So I'll just give you some key levels here. So if you do come down, you have a value area here. Very hard. I'm going to mark these off with a horizontal line so you can screenshot the levels and mark them out. And then you have the value area low right here, right? So value area low right here, value area high right here, and then your confluence with the daily MPOC golden pocket POC value area low sits between 20877 and 19462. Man, that's annoying to say. So you do have like nice support underneath you at this point, right? And again, it's very similar. You're stuck inside of this volume profile. You get the breakout. If we come back down to retest these levels, you're looking at the value area high, break back down. You're hoping to hold on that value area low, right? So that would be key levels to the downside. If you just continue to rip up here, major resistance here. Now, this value area low is going to be a doorway to higher prices. Your hope here is going to be if you continue up. Again, this is major resistance. I would not be shocked if you get a big correction from there. But if you could flip the value area low at about 32122, this would be your doorway to higher prices. So I don't know exactly what will happen here, but once you flip this level, that opens up the door to the POC sitting up here, 40979. So you got a lot of work to do, though. You got a lot of resistance to fight above here. You got the 786. Let's check the weekly. Yeah, weekly money flow technically back in the green. 6-day money flow back in the green. Yeah, money flow kind of chopped up here in the higher time frames. So that's what I would mark out as the key levels. And then once you lose this 786, 17732, I would be looking to take out the low where your next key level of support sits at the value area high. Again, these numbers are really, really hard to kind of say just because they're super long and annoying. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Again, obviously, this is going to be very dependent on Bitcoin, right? If Bitcoin's able to dump back down below 60K, right, I would not be shocked if this resistance zone winds up giving you a big nuke down. If Bitcoin doesn't get the drop down to 60K, well, you have a better chance of getting accepted back into this profile. So that's what I would look at on ZBCN. Thanks for the TA, Frankie. Shout out to Pay. Hey, shout out to Pay. No problemo, brother. That's what we're here for. Study the markets on the weekends. Don't trade them. I like that. Shout out to Kelly. On a long enough time frame, everything is going to zero. Shout out to Panda the Prophet, except for Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin's going to zero. All right, let's take a quick look at I saw a bunch of people asking for hype. Take a quick look at hype. We looked at hype recently, I believe. Never mind. All right, let's take a look at hype. Okay, so yeah, we looked at hype recently with the nice clean bullish divergences. Again, where'd that come in at? Value area low. And auction market theory, guys, for long-term moves like this, you could use this on a lower time frame as well, but like on a high time frame like this, where's your value? You have value up here, you have value down here. What does that mean? That means if you impulse out of this value area, when price leaves a value area, more often than not, it seeks out previous value. Where's your previous value? Once you impulse out of here, price is going to seek out previous value, which sits down here. What happens? You get into the range, POC, get stuck in, back to the POC, back to the low. Here's your cheap prices, right? What do we get down here? High time frame bullish divergences. We had a 3-day bull div down here. Very, very, very nice. Into the value area low. Got out of the range. Bearish retest on your previous value. Again, when you impulse out of this, just like on the way down, if you impulse out of this value area, where is price likely to seek next? Previous value. Got resistance, flipped the value area high to support for a continuation to the upside. We are now accepted into the higher value, right? So this last time we looked at hype a couple days ago, right? Biggest key level of support, POC, right? And the weekly and monthly MPOC. This is a big, 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 big level. 30-minute money flow coming up. 8-hour green dot, not quite looking to print just yet, but the VWAP is been below the zero line. This is your key level of support. You've tapped it. If you could hold this, very simple. Get back into the range, hold it. POC is next. Get above the POC, hold the POC as support. As long as you remain above this point of control, doorway up to this higher zone between the golden pocket, value area high, weekly MPOC, which sits between 44.40 and 47.57. Hold above here. You could eventually keep the doorway open to this higher target. And if Bitcoin ends up putting in the higher low and the higher high, I would not be shocked if hype follows along and hits into that value area high for a full rotation of the profile. Get above there. Last line in the sand, in my opinion, is 51.11, right? Obviously, this is a big resistance level, but, right, just fulfill the volume profile. Let's assume you get above there. This is the line in the sand. Get above this. I really have nothing else to look at other than new highs. Now, I'm not saying you have to long right now for new highs, right? It's an if this, then that statement. But one thing I can say, if you lose the POC, your next key level remains the value area low, right? Sometimes the POC, this is the strongest magnet within the profile. A lot of times you could see price stick to this level tightly, or you go above it, back below it, back above it, back below it. But at the end of the day, if you could hold above it, right, keeps the doorway open. Lose the POC, the next key level remains the value area low at about 35.67. Let's take a look at this on a 4-hour time frame. Yeah, I mean, money flow, very similar to Bitcoin, continuing out. 3-hour money flow continuing out. So if you lose this POC, and you don't really have any bull divs down here either, but lose this POC, I'm looking down at the value area low. Money flow, from a money flow perspective, it's trending out, which does indicate a higher probability of a continuation of the local downtrend here. From a high time frame perspective, money flow looks good though, right? So it could still be, even if you lose that POC, come down to the low, right? You could still be looking for overall higher lows and higher highs, right? Like here, right? You get a big move into resistance, 4-hour money flow comes out, the trend does continue down, right? I'm sorry, this is the 16-hour. Let's check the 4-hour, right? Oh no, we're pushing in, right? 4-hour money flow is coming out, indicating the trend to the downside. But you still, on a higher time frame, put in a higher low and a higher high. It's the same thing here. 4-hour money flow is coming out, could indicate a local trend continuation to the downside. But I would say your biggest key level to look at is that value area low. Could still be a higher low and a higher high. And you do have golden pocket confluence there, so I'll give you the exact key level there. Golden pocket, 34.37 to 35.76. If you could stay within that range, hold that golden pocket, could still be looking for higher lows and higher highs. Local support, lose this, I'm looking down here. We'll see what happens. Great premium. Shout out to Ghost Node. Anytime, brother. Anytime. Me and the premium live stream crew, we got a special relationship. It's like the Only Candles subscription. Money flow still thick. Yeah, on the higher time frames, you still got the money flow thick, right? Like, I always explain it like this. High time frame money flow, right? High time frame trend continuation to the upside. All right, so if you, let's say you have a daily money flow crossover, you can anticipate higher lows and higher highs, right? But if you zoom in, like let's say, here's your money flow, daily money flow crosses green, right? Actually, I'll just use this for an example, right? Hey, price is coming up. Money flow is green. What am I expecting? A higher low and a higher high. But on a 4-hour time frame, you could have money flow coming out, indicating a local downtrend, right? So I could use that as maybe a shorter-term short position, but if my higher time frame bias is money flow coming up for a continuation, I would be looking at that as, hey, I could short this for a 4-hour trend to the downside, make money on that short, and then I would have my key levels, maybe a golden pocket 786 retracement, because that's the highest probability area to put in a higher low. I would say, hey, let me short this sucker down. Money flow is coming into the red. I'll look for the trend to continue down. But when I zoom out to a higher time frame perspective, I can look for a higher low for an overall continuation of that higher time frame trend, right? Daily money flow can indicate this. 4-hour, 2-hour money flow can indicate that local downtrend. No weekly money flow. So there we go. There's hype. Let's see. Do we stream? We do 2 live streams in the premium. Now, the premium streams are a little bit different, obviously, because there's less people in the premium stream. So it's more like direct access. We kind of treat it more like a, obviously, we have a lot of people in this stream. It's hard to answer everybody's questions. But in the premium stream, right, it's a lot easier to get, like, your personal questions answered. Like, the way I view it, right, like, if you are just getting into trading, I say this all the time, and, like, I don't know, find another influencer that'll tell you not to join their premium Discord. But, like, if I have a new trade, they're like, hey, I just started learning about TA. Should I get in your premium Discord? I would say probably not, right? If you don't know anything, you're probably going to get into the premium Discord and be lost, right? Because we're already in there. We're trading. A lot of people already understand the strategies. They're more advanced traders, right? Start on the YouTube channel. I have so much free value in here, and we even put it in the beginner playlist so you guys have a nice, easy kind of not template, but like a nice, easy, it's like, just go to the beginner series. You'll understand everything from a top-down view. You'll understand how to find key levels, how to make a trading plan, how to find confluence, how to use Fibonacci retracements. If you get into the premium Discord and you don't know what a Fibonacci retracement is, you probably jumped the gun, right? You got to do some homework. You got to learn a little bit. And then the premium Discord's more for people who kind of understand the base idea of everything, right? How I trade, the strategies I use. They understand TA, and they want to take their trading to the next level, right? They might have some specific questions like, hey, I'm in this position, or whatever it is, right? You'll have a lot more like kind of direct access to me. So yeah. But I would always say, like, kind of start with the free stuff, right? Because, like, I'll say this, right? Like, a lot of people probably, like, when I tell people, go watch the beginner series, watch those videos 3 times, and take notes. Most people are going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, that seems like too much work, right? Well, that's going to affect whether you wind up making it in trading or not, right? Like, those people who want to put in the work, like, the premium Discord is not a signals group, right? I talk about this from time to time when people ask about it. Like, for example, I'll just talk about that kind of like last failed auction setup. Like, oftentimes what I do is we talk about, right, I'll have the trade setups ahead of time, right? Like, hey, guys, we'll be looking at this trade when price is down here. Hey, we're looking for a higher low and a higher high. If we put in the higher high, guys, we're going to be looking for that short setup back down to the value area high. I'll be looking for these confirmations, and these are my personal trades that I'm looking for and that I'm taking. It's not a signals group. It's not, hey, buy now, put your stop loss here, and then sell at this price, right? I have the trading plan, the confirmations of where I'm looking for the trade, the confirmations I'm looking at to enter. And, of course, right, we look for that failed auction, and obviously on Bitcoin, right? And then obviously not every trade plays out like this. But obviously that plan specifically, and most of them play out. But there's the failed auction. There's the push to the value area high. And then, of course, once you get accepted into the range, you could look to hold a portion of that trade for a potential swing back down to the POC in the low. All right, but the overall thought process there was failed auction, get the move down to the value area high. That was the first major target. Failed auction, value area high, first major target. Right? It's not buy here, sell here. There's no, if signals groups worked, I would have never learned how to trade myself, right? I would have just gone to a signals group and, hooked up a bot to those signals, right? And printed infinite money forever. Everybody would do it, right? But it's more educational. I teach you how to actually consistently make money trading. And of course, you get to like kind of deeper dive into some of the more advanced strategies that we use. And I teach you like the overall system. Let's see. Shout out to King. King Wagme said he's joking. It's a signals group. It is not a signals group. Please, for the love of God, it is not a signals group. Yeah, shout out to I missed that name. Said I love the beginner series. Yeah, it's free value. It's like a free beginners trading course. Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Terrell. Says, do you think Bitcoin can rally while the S&P and general stock market goes down for a correction? At the end of the day, I trade the chart, right? If I see a bullish sign on the chart for Bitcoin, I'm going to take a long. I will take the idea of like, well, hey, traditionally, if the stock's correct, more often than not, I've done this many a times. It's actually funny you asked that because Premium Discord was asking that as well. If we just go ahead and overlay the S&P over Bitcoin, for the most part, these track, right? I'll pull it up on a weekly time frame. S&P, right, or the SPY is in a bull market, Bitcoin's in a bull market. Bitcoin's in a bear market, SPY's in a bear market. S&P's in a bull market, Bitcoin's in a bull market. Now, I know it does decouple at times, right? Obviously, stock market has been continuing up, and I've actually covered this exact scenario before we saw this play out, right? But stock market has obviously continued to put in all-time highs as Bitcoin has corrected. We saw this happen in 2021, not as exaggerated, but you can see here, Bitcoin kind of corrects first, and as we're dumping on Bitcoin, the S&P continues to push the highs. Again, a little bit more dramatic here as we've been putting in all-time highs a lot longer here. But we kind of talked about how, is it possible to see Bitcoin pump while the stock's correct? Listen, it does kind of get into it gets into the zone of like, this time is different, which I don't typically listen to. However, we've talked about many theories of maybe, Bitcoin's use case as a store of value is finally, accepted, and people move the liquidity from stocks, from gold, from silver into Bitcoin, and it starts being looked at more as a safe haven asset. Maybe. At the end of the day, I am a technical trader. Narrative, news, all that stuff is always secondary to me. It doesn't mean I ignore it, but it is always secondary. If I was to say from a historic standpoint, typically these track for the most part, right? If the S&P goes into a massive bear market, Bitcoin typically follows. Could this time be different? Yes. I think every time you say this time is different, the chances get higher that it's going to happen, right? Eventually something's going to change. It's not something I bet on, right? Is it possible? Yes. But at the end of the day, I'm just looking at the chart, right? At the end of the day, if this long position winds up flying us up to $100,000 as stocks correct and all the liquidity from gold and silver goes into Bitcoin, kind of sounds crazy to say that, again, which I'm not saying that has to be the case, but I will always be long. I will always have my biases based off the chart, and then it's like, oh, look at that. The narratives come in, right? I always let that feel secondary. So that's my thought process there. Is it possible? Yes. Has it historically been the case? Not really. Let's see. It's never different. Yeah. Historically speaking, it's never really been different, right? Every time someone says this time is different, 100K incoming, this time is different, nowhere near 100K. This time is different, 8K incoming, nowhere near 8K, right? They say this every time. I've been through many Bitcoin cycles, right? This time is different. People are here every time. It's going higher, it's going lower, it's going higher, it's going lower, it's going higher, it's going lower, right? They're here every cycle, right? Even here, right? Proven true here. We literally had people right here at 126K as we were looking at the top confirmations saying the bull market has just started. I simply cannot understand how someone can say the bull market has just started up here. The bull market started down here, which is why I say 2026 bottom watch. I am much more interested in looking for bottoms down here than looking for the bear market to just begin. Right? Doesn't mean you can't go lower, right? But, with all the confirmations that we've looked at, the weekly RSI, the money flow, everything right now does look like we are at least closer to the bottom than the start of the bear market, right? The start of the bear market was up here, not after the massive capitulation. The start of the bear market in 2021 was up here, not starting right here, right? So that's my thought. Like, could you go down lower? Could you go to 30K? Sure. But that is not my base case right now. If we lose 47K, 50K, then I start to worry about 30,000. But that's not my base case right now, right? So yeah, we talk about that a lot. So crazy people, yeah. But again, to me, it doesn't matter, right? If this time is going to be different, I'll likely see it on the chart. I don't have to predict it based off some kind of conspiracy theory. I'll just say like, hey, it looks bullish here, guys. I don't know. Let's see. I come here for financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, guys. I'm not a financial advisor. I swear. Great signals in the group. It's not a signals group. Bottom in the low to mid 40s. Could be. Again, I'm going to need to see some things break on the chart. Right now, the biggest levels of support underneath us. And again, guys, I'm speaking of as somebody that has been through multiple Bitcoin cycles. And again, you could have targets low, right? You could have, I say this almost every stream. Down in 2022, I had targets at 14. Whoops. I had targets at 14 and 12K. Those levels did not get hit. Did I miss the bottom? No. My average entry price here was about $21,000. Beautiful position. I have targets down here, but once I see those confirmations, weekly bullish divergence, money flow starts to come back up, then it looks a lot less likely that those targets get hit. So very similarly, this is why dollar cost DCA is the way, right? Very similar to that, the high time frame support levels here on Bitcoin. Monthly MPOC. Actually, I'll just pull the lower end of those targets. Weekly MPOC, actually, lower end of those targets. 54 to 55K. right? And I'll just pull this up on a higher time frame. Where's the 2021 value area, right? We have very large support underneath us right now. And you know what? I'll just pull them all up, right? Because the confluence is important, right? Big support here between $54 and $58,000. Again, I'm not saying that this has to tap to the exact dollar, right? You could come down, you could sweep, right? And then you come up. But something I could say for a fact is you have support down here, right? It's not until we start to get accepted into this range where I start to entertain. Now, is there a key target down here at $37,000 and $30,000? Yes, that is a target. Yes, that is a target. Does it guarantee that you have to come down and hit that target? No. It's just like in the bull market, right? We talk about the key targets to the upside. Those targets do not have to be hit. Just because there's a Fibonacci extension, just because there's a key level, does not mean it is guaranteed to get hit. What I use to identify if the top is in or the bottom is in, it's the same thing as the high, right? What do we look at to identify the top is in? The same thing we used here. Weekly bearish divergences, weekly money flow coming out amongst many, many, many other things, regardless of the exact number it hits. I had a target up here at 137K. Was it guaranteed to get hit? No. Once we got the rejection from 126, we start bing-bonging around here at about 108 to 110K with money flow coming out. It looks a lot more likely like the top is in. Everyone hated me. We get the big drop, right? But why did I look for that? It's not because we hit $126,000. It's because we had the confirmations, right? So if we get down here, let's say we do wind up coming up, and then we come back down, we put in a massive weekly bull div, and I see massive confirmations, and the chart looks good down here. At that point, it's going to be unlikely, in my opinion, that we come down to 30K. Just like here, once I see those weekly confirmations, it's unlikely to see 12 to 14K. They could be targets. There's no guarantee they get hit, right? So again, I'm going to react based off the chart. Is it possible to come down to 30K? Yes. But if we see those confirmations at these upper levels, the probability becomes lower. If we don't see those confirmations, we get accepted into the range, well, then they become higher, right? It's an if this, then that statement. It's a probability mindset, right? Saying, oh my God, we have a key level at $137,000. Bitcoin is going to $137,000 is a prediction-based mindset. It's a gamble, right? And I'll just pull the targets here, right? Obviously, we looked at these, which sound crazy all the way down here. First brought up these not prediction levels, but these key targets when we were bing-bonging around here at $30,000. If we put in new all-time highs, what are the key levels to look at, right? Key level number one was, I didn't have this one on the chart, so I'll take that off, right? Between $92 and $103,000, $102,000, right? That was bull market target number one. We snapped the high. We put in a new massive all-time high. That is target number one. I took a little bit off the table here. Small profits, right? Target number two, like I said, was sitting at $137,000. It would be irresponsible for me to tell people, hey, target at 137K, guys, we're going there. Could we go there? Yes. But if we see, this is exactly what I said, right? If we see those bearish confirmations before we hit that $137,000 target, guess what? It's less likely to get hit, right? So technically, if these confirmations came in here, I would say, hey, it looks like the top is in, right? So it's irresponsible for me to say, hey, you're definitely going to 137K because that's the target. There's no guarantee that target gets hit. You can reject local resistance, right? And how do we know if that target's likely to get hit or not? Well, we look at those confirmations. Once you confirm these massive weekly, monthly bearish divergence, 2-week bearish divergences, higher highs, lower highs, that chances of coming up there are much lower, just like the 12 to 14K levels. Weekly bullish divergence, 12 and 14K probably not getting hit. Weekly bearish, 2-week bearish, monthly bearish divergences, 137K probably not getting hit. That's how we call that stuff, right? In that case, 200K is the top of the Fibonacci extensions. We're going to 200K. How many people were telling you that? That's a gambler's mindset. That's not how you make money in the market. So same thing on the way down, right? We could have those lower targets. Yes, they're open. If I see those confirmations before we hit the level, well, they're just lower probability to get hit. If we don't see them, well, bada boom. Maybe they'll be higher probability. But I do see a lot more people starting to look towards that $50,000 zone, which makes me question if we're going to hit it. Stop looking at those levels, everybody. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Dave Digital in the chat. What is going on, Dave? Welcome in. Welcome in. Shout out to Rondo. It says, who remembers when Frankie Candles thought he ended his stream and got caught ripping a can of Galaxy Gas? Isn't Galaxy Gas just like a whipped cream thing? Or is it different? It's crazy. Let's see. What was that timer for? It rang 20 minutes ago. That was to end the stream. Here we are at a 2-hour stream, guys. I might have to kill the whole short stream idea. Benny in the chat. Shout out to Benny. Welcome in, brother. But yeah, guys, let's see. Let's come on back down to the lower time frames here for good old Bitcoin. So yeah, my plan kind of remains the same, guys. If you watched the market update yesterday, or you just tuned in, you can go watch that market update or scrub back to the beginning of the stream. My plan remains the same here as we sit inside the volume profile. We got to get above $72-ish thousand in order to see the bigger push up. If we get that, the bigger zone of resistance I'm looking at is going to be the Fibonacci retracement. I'll leave you with the key levels here. Underneath us, POC 786 sitting at $68,000. Key level underneath us, right? Currently, you're bouncing off the golden pocket. Can you bounce there? Yes. Am I long from here? No. I'm long from $65,000 or $65,500, I guess. But if we break down, this is the next high probability target. Lose the golden pocket, POC is next. Lose the POC, this is a more confluent level and a very important level for the continuation up. You have the value area low. The weekly. Let me just mark these out real quick, and I'll leave you guys with them so you can mark them off on your chart. Biggest key levels to the downside. If we lose this golden pocket, POC at 68K, lose the POC, golden pocket, value area low, weekly, trend line. Weekly, value area low, golden pocket, trend line. Yeah. Right here. 68K. Underneath that, you have 66 to 65,420. Hashtag blaze it. These are the biggest levels to hold. Once we end up losing this, come down here. We can't hold the trend line. We get rejected out of the range. Once you lose that 786 at 63,267, I'm looking for a much bigger drop down. Until then, we can keep an open mind to the continuation higher for higher lows and higher highs. Very simple. I personally, based off the 2, 3, and 4 hour money flow, think that getting up here and seeing 80K is probably the lower probability scenario. We won't know until we hit it, right? Or don't hit it. But just based off the money flow, your 2 hour crossed over into the red, your 3 hour is continuing out, your 4 hour is continuing out. So until that winds up just totally faking out, I have to be looking for lower highs and lower lows. As long as you remain within this profile, the idea is to get the drop down towards the POC. All right, there's no reason to even look up towards this golden pocket retracement, which, by the way, sits at 73,211 to 74,455. If you watch the beginning of the stream, it's 74,444. But just in general, there's no reason for me to look up here until we get out of the value area. Right? If we remain below the value area high between 71 and 72K, the idea is to get accepted deeper into the profile. If we break out, I'm looking here. Does that make sense? So key level to the upside, biggest level, holding you back from $80,000 is 74,444 to 73,211. Got to break out of the value area high to see that. Until then, as long as we remain inside the profile, biggest levels below, 68K, and then 66 to 65.5. Set your alerts, get these marked off on your chart, and again, this lower level is extremely important. If we do not hold this, could be the bigger drop towards 60K. Lose that 786. In my opinion, it's game over below 60K. Until then, you have nice support underneath you. Money flow on the higher hourly time frames is still continuing up. But within the profile, I do just have that bias of continuing in there. 71 key level. Yep, value area high. 3-hour stream until daily close. And then, hyper locally, right? You got the 4-hour green dot printing, like we covered in the beginning of the stream. Green dot printing, 15-minute money flow trying to cross into the green, so maybe we can continue up, right? But on that way up, biggest levels of resistance here and here. Once you break above that 786, hey, send it to 80K. My long from 65.5 will be happy about that. But I'm nicely hedged here. So whether we get the break up or the breakdown, we'll be making money. And, get these levels marked off on your chart. Yeah, Bitcoin ain't doing this right now. I'm waiting for new local highs or a 10% drop. Yeah, sometimes the best trade is no trade, as I've said. Good thing your trading isn't like your timekeeping. Yeah, I would be a Baroque boy for sure. But yeah, there we are. Hour and 50 minutes, guys. I got to hop off. This was supposed to be a 1-hour live stream, just a quick little Friday update. But the Mafia, you guys got good questions. Yeah, we had some altcoins to look at. It is what it is. And it's kind of hard to drag me off stream. I think Mrs. Candles is here. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Don't forget to oh, wait, hang on. We got giveaways. Hang on. Prony D, drop the giveaways. I assume on a Friday we didn't get 550 likes. But we will do a hat giveaway soon here, guys. Wow, Tony D on point with the giveaways. We have those 10 USDT bags. Shout out to Panda the Prophet, Crypto King Crypto. Interesting. Z Punisher, not a financial advisor. Donnie, the terrible trader. We're gonna fix that for you, bro. The Mega Bull, Tootie, and Paul. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for being here. Congratulations to all the winners. I will see you guys next week. Have a great weekend. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. And I don't know. Don't drink and trade. That probably won't end well. But that's all I got. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Yeah. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on place. If you only win one way, you late. Yeah. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late. Yeah. Price go up, I ride the wave. Price fall fast, I short the gray. They need green just to feel okay. I make money in a hurricane. If you bullish, only you half a trader. Market turn red, you a spectator. I stay paid in every layer. Volatility, my elevator. They panic selling, I'm scaling in. They revenge trade, I'm stacking wins. They chasing candles, I fade the trend. They cash out calm while they hold the L. You want direction, I want range. You want hope, I want exchange. You want luck, I want edge. That's why my account don't beg. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on place. If you only win one way, you late. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late. I don't need green candles to eat. If you're scared too short, you're scared to win. Profit don't care about direction. Bulls celebrate, bears pay me. Volatility is my direct deposit. Your hope is my liquidity. I don't predict opposition. Fear is where the entries live. You pray for pumps, I prepare for dumps. I make money in corrections and celebrations. The trend is your religion. The range is my income. If the chart move, I get paid. Up or down, we get paid either way. Long when it bounce, short when it break. Market go red, that's dinner on place. If you only win one way, you late. Up or down, we get paid either way. Money in the bank when the candles shake. Broke boys pray, we calculate. If you fear both sides, you too late.